Danny's fighting back against the tariffs
by taking off underwear from the dolls.
It's Monday, August 25th, and this is your SmartDoll news.
I'm sad because she cut off my jaw. All right. We even rehearsed that one, and you still cut me off.
I think it went just fine.
No,
Lee heard the joke.
No, I know, but there was more. It was good rhythm. Anyway, so I thought this was going to be a lighter news week, but we just kept finding stuff to add. So
yeah, it's just how it all happened in like the past 24 hours. So
yeah, it's really starting to feel like I've got like 2 hours to like cram everything in before the news because it's happening this morning.
We did talk to Danny a little bit, so we've got a little bit of clarity on some stuff, but
let's dig in. First off, a little surprise story here that I don't even think Sandy necessarily knows is in here. All right. Well, that is all right. That is still showing like last week's display. Restart the capture. There we go. There is the news. Sandy, your hair apparently looks amazing.
Thank you.
And you gotta get yourself in frame. This is news today out of Japan. I will warn you, like, I'll just say this straight up. This doesn't apply to SmartDoll, but affects, like, doll collectors. Japan has officially announced today that they're putting a temporary suspension on acceptance of mail to the United States due to the changes in U.S. customs and regulations.
Wow.
So what this means is we're talking post, so EMS.
Right. EMS which would then go transfer to our U.S. Postal Service.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, this has to do with, we talked about on our last tariff episode, about, basically that there would be like a flat charge for post, but basically because of the carrier requirements and the extra logging apparently that even they will have to do, not just Japan. I don't have Europe apparently has done this as well. The chat is saying post coming to the United States go on hold. I don't know if this is going to actually affect anything other than us in term, I don't know if this is actually going to change anything, if this is sort of leverage that might, affect the actual regulations. But here's what they say specifically. Starting August 27th, that's this Wednesday, and assumedly this is Japan time, so this is Tuesday night for us. They're going to be suspending acceptance of postal items. So again, small packages, parcels, and EMS. And that is unless basically anything that's a gift that exceeds $100 or they're goods
intended for sale or consumption.
Yeah. For sale for consumption.
For sale for consumption. Okay.
So even then, like you're buying anything, technically it's suspended. If somebody's sending you a gift that's less than $100, it could make it through.
Right. Okay. So ordering from a business and having it sent via EMS is not going to happen.
Yeah. So I know there's plenty of options out there of things that you might use the EMS for. Does Volks do EMS?
No.
Or they're
DHL.
They're DHL.
Yeah.
But getting what am I thinking of? Like proxy services and things like that. You might do this. It is, certainly going to reduce the options.
It's not
for
going to
shipping.
affect SmartDoll because Danny hasn't used EMS in forever.
Yeah. So this won't change. I just did want to bring it out there. I had notes here. Let me go back a step here. And I did want to shout out Dino and Address for bringing this to our attention in the Discord server. All right. Next up, I don't actually have any notes for this, but Danny had some issues with the sales that have been happening. We've got people, which is typical, complaining that, hey, you dropped the price. I recently bought this. Give me a price adjustment.
And it doesn't work that way.
I mean, it works that way a lot of places in typical, like, well, at least in America, right? Like, you know, they
have
adjust
like 14
the price.
days usually for most companies. That's the standard policy.
But really, that's a policy because that's a return policy. Like,
Right.
Ultimately, you walk into a place, something goes on sale. I mean, maybe they're nice and they give it to you, but technically, they're just avoiding the annoyance of having you return something and purchase it again. But that's not an option with SmartDoll. So, unfortunately, you know, for anyone watching those price drops, if you bought it, you know, before, especially when it came out, it doesn't, you know, you're not going to be able to get a price adjustment. But Sandy, you want to go through what is, like, why it's this way, particularly for SmartDoll?
So I'm going to use, just for example, he didn't say this. I'm just going to use the guys as an example. When the guys first came out, they were like 98,000 yen or something like that. And that was because Danny was working on adjusting his workflows. There were, you know, like additional costs were in place because it was something that they were getting adjusted to in terms of how to get this manufactured and put together and shipped. So there was additional cost in that. And then as time has gone by, it's become a lot faster for them to produce these dolls. There's reduced labor cost and everything. So he's able to, while he could have just left it the same and let everybody pay 98, he decided to let future people have it at a lower price point, which I believe is now something like 72,000 yen.
I don't remember.
Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the number that I saw. But so it just as an example, it's just that his production costs have gone down, so he's passing that on to the consumer.
Okay, so I guess ultimately what he's saying is that, you know, this is what it cost before. Like, this is not,
right.
You know, Danny's not reducing things to make a sale. He's reducing things because he can reduce them now. Barry Wings asks, how long has it been since Boys re-released?
I can very quickly tell you when we ordered ours.
Why don't you just look at Guru?
Well, because it's faster for me right now. I'm sorry.
Thanks. Way to fail the plug. I mean, it was a few months. Yes, it was June something.
No, it was longer ago than that. Longer ago than that we got ours. We got ours in March. So I feel like
March?
Yeah.
That's what you just saw?
Yep. In the creator chat, the creators got theirs in March.
That seems ungodly long ago, but okay. Yeah.
Middle of March.
So it must have been, okay, yeah, April, May. All right. I mean, obviously there have been dolls out recently that, you know, you could have bought it a few weeks ago and it was at a higher price. Although I think they've kind of staggered down. He will also do this, you you have stage stuff like when a new product comes out and he's bundling it with, the medium bust, like you've got a new fantasy tone. And then he starts to take that away, which reduces the price. Usually, again, prices go down over time because it becomes easier to produce more quickly. And, and I mean, he says it, but I think his actions match what he says, which is he doesn't set costs. He's talked about he doesn't design to cost, but he also he doesn't set costs based on like, this is how much money I want to get, how much profit I'm going to make off of it. Because if that were true, the dolls would not, a classic doll should not be 52,000 yen still.
Right.
So yeah, Berrywing says 5 months price adjustments.
Yeah, so that was March was when the creators got that first batch, and I don't think it was more than a month.
I think it was a few weeks after that.
Yeah.
All right, so keep that in mind. Let's see. We also had similar lines. I guess Danny got some complaints about milk. Milk. I can't wonder why I said milk like that. Not being as light as they expected.
Yeah, I think it is significantly lighter than cinnamon, but of course that all has to do with your lighting, too.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually see variance in the pictures that he takes, through a number of reasons. But yeah, the lighting, he'll take some lights in this stairwell. Sometimes he'll take it up on like the roof, which is like really blasting in sunlight. But I mean, we can see the difference here. They're not, I mean, to me, they're not enormously far off from each other. And the darker the light gets, the more similar they look.
Right. But if your light is good, like especially in this picture, milk is to cinnamon as cinnamon is to tea, in my opinion.
Maybe. I feel like it's a little bit less, but maybe. I don't know. It's one of those things where I think a lot of people who buy dolls, I mean, they may not have, a lot of natural light in their house. They're probably not keeping their dolls near the natural light because they don't want to cause yellowing and, damage to the vinyl. So, that's just I think the tough part about when you get tones that are, relatively close to each other.
Is this a new Milk Mirai and a Milk Cortex?
Yeah, this is new Milk Mirai and Cinnamon Cortex. So this is from the article comparing like when they released the new Milk skin tone. Dee Dee says, I personally feel it's a difference between a cool tone and a warmer tone. There's definitely a warmer tone, and it is definitely darker. But again, if you don't, ask yourself this, what type of lighting do you have in your house? You have a lot of different color temperatures to light, but typically you're going to buy, warm, bright white or daylight. Those are typically what you would see.
I'm gonna show her in our light that's in here.
Okay, we're popping back to here. That's
Milk and
cinnamon. So this is Shiki milk hybrid. So this is a hybrid of Cortex and vinyl. But you can see the bust. With good light, you can very clearly see the difference.
It's really clear here.
He says, in the right light, milk is Gondor calls for aid pale. Christina says, I have to use cinnamon dolls with a milk frame. And
I used to have cinnamon dolls with a milk frame, and you could tell, but it wasn't bad. Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's definitely different.
I can't do it. But I mean, you know, I would just notice it all the time, and it would bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, you know, again, depending on what you see, depending on the lighting. There's also a difference, something to keep in mind. There's a rating you can see on lights, CRI, which essentially is, what is it, color reproduction index? I think that's, if I may be messing the R up, but essentially, the higher the CRI is, the more accurate the color looks under that light.
Right.
Daylight, sunlight is the bar. That's 100 CRI. If you look at, you know, typical like LED bulbs that aren't, like, don't have a high, you're probably looking about the, you know, 85-ish range. You can get, like, if you were to put lights in your craft room or something like that, you want to be specifically looking for lights that are CRI like 92, 95, up in that range, because you want to be able to see accurately the colors of, like, your fabrics and things. Not something that normal people are going to necessarily look for or put into their bulbs in their normal lights, unless you're crazy. All right. So, anything to come out of this? I think it's no returns, basically. I mean, we're not,
right.
Well, I don't know, maybe he's taking returns. It's technically a no, he hasn't, you know, there's no return policy. But I think he's taken returns, and, like, you have to pay for the shipping because that's cost is gone. Yeah, this is
like the opposite end of the spectrum from people buying Coco dolls and finding out that they can't see the faces good because they don't have good light in their house.
Yep.
You know, it's
similar issue.
It's the opposite end of it.
Yeah. Get more light. If you're taking pictures of your doll, get more light, get better light, take them outside. But yeah, I mean, and that goes to show you, if you're just gonna use your dolls in, like, in relatively lower light, you might as well not get milk. You're not going to see too much of a difference there. Dee says, I remember thinking coffee would be a lighter tone than it turned out to be. Again, pictures, it's hard to even get pictures to accurately represent how they look in person. I mean, our video is fairly color calibrated and we have, you know, nice, like, lights that are very cool, you know, temperature, and it's calibrated for that. So I think, you know, our main camera does a pretty good job, especially when you're at about this distance. The closer you get, the brighter then they get, and we're not adapting, like, the exposure on it or anything, so it starts to get weird. If we brought both of these dolls forward, you'd start to lose the difference between them.
Yeah, it reminds me of, like, how they always say, like, when you paint a house or something, you should put swatches of the actual paint where you're going to have them, and then look at it at different times of day because the light changes.
Yeah. All right. Next up. New pattern.
Suit, new pattern.
Always a good thing to see.
Yep. Shortly, we'll probably do a sewing circle for it so that we can all kind of take a look at it together.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's weird or different about SmartDoll patterns? I should say, about official patterns released by Danny.
Well, now they do have some English instructions. Normally when you buy a pattern from somebody, you get a sheet of instructions. Do 1, do 2, do 3, do 4. With Danny's, you just have to read the pattern itself, the diagram itself, and figure out what order to do things and what you're supposed to do. Sometimes in the sewing circles, we just kind of get together and start sewing. And then, like, if somebody has a question, we all kind of talk about it together and go, oh, no, I think you put this together first, or you sew this seam here first, and then you add that. You know, just kind of, like, working it out together in the same, like, as though we were in the same room.
When's your next sewing circle?
Well, currently Wednesday. That's not going to be this, unless somebody comes in and just really wants to talk about it. We'll do that, but I need to schedule an official one for the flight suit.
Okay, so check out in the Discord, look for the events, and you'll see when the next sewing circle is. All right, Vampire Boy, small update. He still needs a name, still unnamed, and he's not coming out like soon. As far as we know, he's still working on the face masks. So the electroplating and I mean, he's probably been back from electroplating, but now they've got to carve into the face masks all of the stenciling for the face.
I cast my vote on Twitter for the name for this guy in the 80s theme, because all the boys have 80s music theme names. Yep. Somebody suggested, I think it actually might have been, Katie said we should just name him I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. Thinking about the fact that Danny writes a story that gives like a sort of, it illustrates a concept for each doll. Mm-hmm. I think the better name was one that somebody suggested, which is Who Wants to Live Forever by Queen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, love it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were literally in one of our chats talking about like where we want to travel, and I'm like, growing up, huge Highlander fan. So the Highlander soundtrack, being done completely by Queen, like, so good, first of all. But yeah, I love that.
Who Wants to Live Forever just kind of gives them more, you can really go off on that philosophically, Yeah.
Well, plus also add on sort of the weight of Freddie Mercury's life onto that. Like, God. One of my favorite songs.
And Danny's British, and Queen. There's a whole very much a pride around Queen.
I don't we know that Danny's a Kylie Minogue, fan, but I don't think I've ever heard him talk about Queen, which I'd be interested to see where he stands on that. Anyway,
how do you not like Queen?
I don't know. If you don't like Queen, Danny, don't tell us. Because I feel like that would ruin something. So we do also have the word that the first color that this boy, whatever his name is going to be milk. So
which makes sense. He should be milk. The reason this one is cinnamon is because they do all their tests on cinnamon. The first initial one is always done on cinnamon, and then they convert from there.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. I think it's great that it's milk first. It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense if you're gonna do, if you're gonna do a vampire, the obvious choice is to do milk. I mean, it's honestly sad that milk. That he wasn't doing or hadn't done the re-release of Milk when Transcendence first came out. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would have been I actually really want Transcendence in Milk, but I already have her in Cinnamon and Gray, and I just can't justify getting her in Milk. Katie and her doll says, I want him to use the 80s country song name. Okay, which, do you have one in mind?
Islands in the Stream. The Gambler.
My problem is like I can't not hear like covers of Islands in the Stream, which is very much not on the country. Anyway, uh,
we have a Kenny stand here. I don't know. When I think 70s, 80s country, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton is like who pops into my head. Like, I don't know. I grew up riding around in my dad's pickup with him plugging like 8 tracks into the dash. So.
Yeah, see, I have an enormously wide range of musical influences growing up, but country was never really one of them.
No, you had folk though.
Yes, big folk. My musical. I mean, this is way off topic, but my musical background growing up, my influences from my parents, from my sisters, and then my own discovery in like the late '80s, early '90s, ranged from Peter, Paul, and Mary, some like Christian, was it Christian rock technically? I feel like they always called it that, but like, Michael W. Smith and Amy Grant. Then you had, Neil Diamond, like it's forever ingrained in me, to Led Zeppelin. I shouldn't say country because like my dad was a guitarist, so I got Chet Atkins.
Okay.
Les Paul, and then into like, obviously new wave, and then into like hip hop, R&B, and rap. Like but yeah, very little country, and what little country was there is like almost on the jazz end.
Yeah, no, I grew up with country, but but the ones that I tend to think of is Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, even though I grew up with a lot more than that.
Yeah, Carpenters. Anyway, Barrywig says, New Kids on the Block for me. There's a videotape of my sister and her friends doing like music videos to New Kids and New Edition, like in the stairwells of our house growing up. So I grew up with, like I oddly enough didn't get in like overly into the boy bands at that point. But anyway, so Milk Vampire coming soon. Let's get to the bigger story this week.
Yeah, so here's our main story. The Bare Bones Kit.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of stuff from Danny about this. It's been a little bit on the confusing side. We've been slowly getting more details as they come out. But let's start with the problem. What the heck problem? What is Danny trying to solve here?
Well, he's trying to reduce costs for people due to especially in the U.S., the increased import costs.
Right, because the tariffs, I feel like he's just probably been only answering emails about, can I get this before tariffs?
Right.
Which I should mention, we are past the date that you can order a SmartDoll and get it in time for the tariffs not to hit you. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you know that, but we're pretty much, if you're not purchasing because of tariffs, time is up.
There is now a red banner on the site that says you've passed the time to get it before September 1st.
Yeah. So we've got this idea of a bare bones kit. The thumbnail for this video is actually the old Simplicity kit. Mm-hmm. This is really nothing all that new. He's done this before in basically this format where you get the pieces of the doll. These are essentially the pieces that you normally could easily take apart, and to put them together. So we've got the bust. So you'll have to thread the bust onto like the neck and over the shoulders. Mm-hmm. You've got you'd have to put on the arms
and the shins.
Yeah. So the lower half of the leg, basically, you've got the feet and the shins, and you'd have to put that into the knee, which can be one of the harder things to do to some extent.
Yeah. So this is one of the things, too, that in this picture, though, is a little bit, I think, a little bit inaccurate because he has said that the eyes have to be installed.
That's not true. So Danny's been saying a lot of hypotheticals.
Okay.
If this, then that, and blah, blah, like, but one of the ways that he can reduce and make it easier as possible is that if he doesn't, like he asked people, if you know, do you need the eyes installed? Because if they can avoid installing the eyes, they can just package the eyes, you know, in there. And that's a little bit of extra, you know, ways that they can do that. There may be reasons in the future why they need to put the eyes in, but we'll get there.
Okay. All right.
We've also got the head and the wig. So this is pretty much a doll. What's missing?
Underwear.
Yep.
Bag.
Right.
Stand.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's going to throw in the postcard.
Yeah.
But, you know. So that's a little bit of money savings. I want to say he said like 2,000-ish.
Right.
Per doll, 2,000 yen.
Yeah.
The big savings is the box they can put it in.
He can ship it in that. If anybody has ever ordered like one batch of chaos or, you know, a frame or two, they come in that slimmer tall box that's in the picture. And so he can fit that's the tier 1 box from DHL, and he can fit a bare bones doll like that in that box, which reduces the shipping cost. So you would save like another 4,000 yen on shipping.
Yeah. So that puts us at about a savings of 6,000 yen. So to give you an idea, and we did have, where was it? Meg says, I'm curious on how much the tariffs will make purchasing a SmartDoll. I really want to get Milk Transcendence. So to give you an idea, right now, it normally costs of a classic doll. So not pear or milk is technically a bit more expensive, right?
I think it's the same now.
Is it? Did they drop it all the way down?
Let me just go and get that exact number.
So for a 52,000, yen doll, plus shipping, that normally works out to about $400 USD right now. With tariffs, that's with the fees and extra stuff, the fees then, and then of course the actual tariff on it, the processing stuff, that is about $100 of import costs added onto that. So it will cost you all in landed at the end of the day, about $500 US to buy a SmartDoll.
Yeah, milk is currently 52,000.
Okay, so whether it's milk or not, a lot of the stuff is discounted, and obviously this goes up. Check our last, our tariff video about the exemptions going away, and I've got a whole chart there. Kitty says it was 418 last week, no tariff. Okay, so a little bit higher than that. That's gonna put, I don't know, probably an extra few dollars onto the tariffs because it's 15% of that.
It's roughly the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably that would have cost like $520 or something like that would be my guess. So the savings here that Danny would be talking about, being able to ship in a smaller box. So largely the savings is coming from reduced shipping costs, which affect the tariffs. Like tariffs, all the import costs are based on the price plus the shipping plus any insurance, which you don't get. So all in all, I calculated out about what Danny is proposing here is going to save you about $45.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
So a chunk of what the tariffs are affecting you, basically. You know, he's doing his best to try and help compensate without it costing them a ton of extra money.
Katie Nadell says, but won't it be a flat fee of $80? No. And we go over this all in the last video. I will say it again, though. I will keep saying it as much as I have to. The flat rate tariff applies only to the post office. That's it. And that's because the post office was deemed not ready to implement processing on everything. So they have a flat rate.
And that's for 6 months.
For 6 months. That does not affect SmartDoll at all because they don't use EMS, which would come in that way.
Right.
And even if they did, Japan just shut it down.
Right. And also, even if you're a person who gets your final delivery from SmartDoll via USPS because of a DHL handoff, USPS isn't doing the processing. DHL is.
Yep.
You'll get charged the DHL fees.
Yep. Yeah, the fees, and again, there's the 15% tariff on Japanese goods you'll be paying. Plus, I want to say it's like a $30-something, it's like $36 processing fee, and like a small, maybe $8 to $10 broker fee on top of that. So, and those don't scale at all. So you could, if you want to calculate your tariffs, add on 50% of your cost and shipping together. Mm-hmm. So take that 15% for the tariffs and then add on, to be safe, I would add on like $45, $45 or $50 of fees.
So DHL has suspended shipments to the U.S. as of last Friday, at least from Europe.
Yeah, as far as we know, there's not an issue for Japan for DHL, but we'll see. For all we know, it could stop tomorrow. SmartDoll has two options: FedEx or DHL available to you. So we'll just have to see what happens. Didi calls out something. I don't think DHL Express is affected, which is the specific service that Danny
uses.
So we've got an option on the table. Now, when I first saw this, I was confused because he's talking about bare bones kit. Like, yeah, sure. Like, we don't need. Honestly, we've got too many bags.
We've got a ton of bags.
Too many stands. I don't use them very much.
I keep them in a little pencil holder on this table in the studio, and just if we need a stand, I grab it. But we've got a whole bunch of them.
And the underwear, similarly, I don't know. There's a lot of times where it's like, why bother wearing, having the underwear on? Because of the thickness at that scale, you'll generally get better lines on clothes by
our
not
girls
having
don't
it.
care if they're going commando.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Where was I?
For those of us, for us experienced collectors, we don't necessarily care that we're not getting underwear or the bag or anything like that. This is fine.
I was confused though. Like, does he mean when he says bare bones? Like, he was talking about assembly. Are we talking about frame assembly? Now, if we were talking about frame assembly, I mean, it took me 4 hours. Which is apparently good time. To put together that green body that we got.
Right, you had to cut the vinyl and everything too, though.
Yep. It wasn't exactly clear what he was saying there, but he has, clarified at this point that he was talking about just like the peach bodies, and going back to this, he put out a picture of exactly what it would be. So we now know, yeah. It's not it's just plugging a couple things in together.
Yeah. I've done a couple of those now. It's easy.
My thing was, though, like, $45 savings is not a huge amount of savings. And that's, where did I figure out? So it's like $45 savings, which includes the savings on the tariff, which is a couple bucks, and the shipping cost. So it's not a huge amount of savings, but as long as it wasn't you were going to have to like put the frame together, that's fairly worth it. And I wouldn't need this all the time. Like I wouldn't. I don't need all of the extra stuff now that we have a bunch of dolls. I actually think it's kind of it's a little bit more ecologically friendly to not have all the extra stuff in there.
Yeah. You can't. The thing about this, so there's a couple caveats. If you're ordering clothes or something to go with the doll, they don't fit in the box.
Yeah, sorry, say that again.
If you're ordering clothes or anything, they don't fit in the box. So if you're thinking, I don't need underwear, but I really want a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. Not
going to be able to do this.
No.
You would be pretty much paying the same amount. You'd save 2,000 yen. It's not going to be a huge deal. So there's that. How are you feeling about, do you think people are going to want this versus, who's going to want this versus who's going to be like, no, I want a full doll?
I think for the most part, it's people who have over say 10 dolls in their collection.
Yeah.
That have been through the experience of getting the bag and are comfortable with pulling arms and legs off and fixing things and, pulling arms and feet off, I should say. You rarely ever have to take the legs off. But, pulling things apart and putting them back on. People who are physically able to do this. Because there are some people that are not physically able to put the arms and legs on.
Yeah. Yep, definitely true. What about the experience? How do you think that is gonna change? I mean, he did talk about limiting this to existing customers, but
yeah,
what do you think the difference is experience-wise of getting?
I mean, there's less ceremony to it. It's not as the doll is, you're not taking her out and she's got her underwear on and she's all together and, there is a part of me that's I like that experience of having the doll come to me complete, but I understand this and could be okay with it now is my feeling on it.
Yeah.
But there are people who really want the full experience. They want to take that bag out. They want to pull the doll out of the plastic. And
I don't see how he would get to a point where, I don't think that should ever be the first experience of a SmartDoll owner.
Right. And I think that's why he was saying he would limit that to people who are already existing customers.
So he did say some interesting things about this is all about optimizing for cost. How can they optimize the cost for you guys and, for us, and to reduce the cost as much as possible. Taking out the items, the bag, the stand, and the underwear, that reduces a little bit, but it's really all about shipping optimization, what we can fit and what. So he was talking about, there's a lot of hypotheticals that he talked about of it would be hard for them to be doing both. They can't go too far with this. Building, for instance, doing a frame full assembly, a kit to build everything. Here's all the parts. Mm-hmm. It's actually more effort for them to do that than it is to just build it.
They have to make sure that every piece is in that bag. They have to do a lot of quality control to make sure that they've put everything in the box.
Yeah, everything's got to have, and you can see it here, but each thing has to be separately packaged to make sure you don't get like things that are damaging each other versus once the doll's together, they slide it in their bag with the, the bubble wrap, put them on their knees and in they go. Like it's fairly simple packaging. But he did say some things like, like it would be hard to do both at the same time, like both a regular full doll release and a whatchamacallit, and one of these bare bones kits. Thank you, Havlin, so much. Havlin says, personally, I think it would be Nene for saving cell heads and bare bodies separate. I'm not sure what we're saying here as far as the Nene means.
We're kind of lost a little bit.
That typo
threw you for.
I just have the urge to whip. Canal says the packaging would have more plastic. I mean, yeah, I guess a little bit. I'm not sure how you would compare them, though, because it's a lot of plastic, especially the bubble wrap, too. Mm-hmm. There's less bubble wrap in here, so I think you might be lower on the amount of plastic.
Maybe we can get a bare bones kit by emailing Danny after we buy the doll, and then he refunds us some? I don't think so.
I doubt you're going to get anything. I mean, if they're going to do something, it's going to be selectable unless it's like, oh, hey, sometimes he used to do stuff like throw a note in the comments if you want us to throw in those like vinyl, the rings, the vinyl flashing. But I don't see that. Now, let's talk about what he's actually doing. So this is all theoretical, except he's doing a test.
Yep.
We're going to see how this works out. He announced a new doll.
Deja Vu.
This is her. She is a new doll on the M1 sculpt. So this is North, Anime North. Mm-hmm. Who else is on? There's one other.
The Coco girl that was discontinued. Can't think of her name.
She's a cute girl. She's got the new starry eyes. Mm-hmm. And she is going to be coming only as a bare bones kit to begin with.
Right.
So we will see, which means based on what he says, this doll will likely only be available to existing customers. For now. Mm-hmm. In this, initial pass. And we'll have to see we don't have a specific time, although I feel like it's coming soon. I think we'll probably see her drop pretty soon because I think it sounds like Danny really wants to try this out and see what the response is, see if people like it. We do know this, if basically Danny is going to try and optimize costs as much as possible without affecting the efficiency of the team. So this may not work out because nobody likes it, or not enough people like it or want it. This may not work out because in order to make it work for people, he would have to do too much weird logistical stuff. So we don't know what's going to happen for that, but we do know he's going to try it with Deja Vu here.
Love the eyes, love the wig. I think there's probably going to be a lot of...
Real says, Relentless.
Mm-hmm. There's another one though. There was a Coco girl that I can't think of her actual name.
Dee Dee says, I would love a bare bones kit for the boys. We don't know yet whether that will be an option for the boys.
Right. Perseverance. Thank you, Wolf.
So again, one of the things to remember here is the point isn't about, hey, you can assemble it yourself and that makes it cheaper. The point is, hey, we can shove this in a smaller box and that makes it cheaper.
Right.
So the key difference there is, can they actually shove a doll into that smaller box?
Right.
And have it work? So the guys are a bit bigger. They probably can fit. Pear, on the other hand,
cannot fit.
Is gonna be a lot harder.
Nope, it doesn't fit. It bulges the box, and Danny says that that DHL is very strict about the tier 1 box. So the reason that when it comes in the bag that they put it into, he has to tape down the corners of the bag because they're so strict about the size of that box.
Yeah. So the likely thing that would happen there is that they would end up being bulged trying to put a pear doll in there, and then they would end up upgrading they would count it as a tier 2 and charge more shipping. So we'll see. Now the interesting thing that Danny pointed out to us, and I guess somebody had, I don't know if it was a comment on Twitter or somebody who exactly told him this, but somebody asked the question of, like, how many dolls would fit in a normal, like, how many bare bone kits would fit in a normal doll box?
Right.
And Danny's estimations are that he thinks he can fit 3 dolls.
Definitely 2. Possibly 3.
So that's a possibility where you could save. Now, previously, it would cost you for like DHL 8,000 yen per doll to ship because each doll ships in its own box.
Right.
So shipping 3 dolls, it's possible that we could get bare bones kit and ship 3 dolls for the shipping cost of 1 doll previously.
Right.
Katie says, or 4? No.
4 doesn't fit.
Too much.
We're not even sure 3 will fit.
Going back to here for my notes. Okay, so my calculations are, if Danny can fit 3 bare bones kits into the normal doll box, that saves you the cost of 2 doll boxes worth of shipping. So that would end up saving you about $100 worth of shipping and $15 of tariffs. So $115 you would save. You're still paying 15% on the doll costs. Right. But like you could, so maybe it's you buy 1 doll at a time, or you save up and buy 3. I don't know who's buying 3 dolls at once, but if you're a more frequent doll buyer, and maybe it's not so bad to save up a little bit longer and just do them all in one shot, you could do that.
Manuela says, I say ship them to me in Canada and you guys can come and visit me.
Dee Dee says, but the tariff is based on the price you pay. The tariff is based on the cost of the item plus shipping. So directly reducing your shipping costs, saves you money.
Making a small reduction,
but reduces tariffs. So overall, you're reducing the cost of those things. So if we look at this 2,000, what were we saying? Shipping a doll was like $400. Like we'll say 50 of that was shipping. So we're saying 450. I'm using big estimates here. What was that? $400. Okay, no, sorry. 350. So 350 for the doll. So 3 times that, plus only 1 set of $50 shipping. So that would be $1,100 landed. 3 dolls plus $50 shipping. It'd probably be a little bit less because of the savings, the 2,000 yen savings on the, underwear and stuff like that. But that would be okay. So 1,100 landed for that versus 1,200, right? So if we take all of that and multiply it by 0.15, we're going to call it plus another 50. It's about $215 of import costs. So that puts us at what does it divide by 1.15? No, I've got 2 operators there. Hold on. No, that's not getting me the right thing. No, it's
John does math.
Times 1.15. Okay, so landing buying a doll would cost, buying 3 dolls in 1 box after tariffs, after everything, would cost $13.15. Versus $14.30. I mean, it's still a lot of money. Like, you're still paying 15% on top of.
Christina pointed out, if you have a bunch of local friends, you could get your local friends together, place 1 order.
Yeah.
And save on some tariffs.
That would start. Well, thank you for the extra super chat. You didn't need to, donate more just to get this, but we definitely appreciate it. Havlet Star says, I'm sorry guys, my keyboard malfunction at times when I do super chats. I don't know why, but I meant to say was selling bodies and heads separately. No, somebody brought this up earlier. He's done that in the past. Were option heads. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's a mixed bag as far as like the number of people who want it versus don't. Mm-hmm. I suspect that more, I don't know, it may be a totally different ballgame now, but I feel like there's more people would be willing to assemble the doll versus get an option head. Mm-hmm. But I have to say, one of the things I keep hearing from people is ultimately $45 is not going to be a reduction enough to make them buy right now. Mm-hmm. Like, the tariffs are stopping a lot of people from buying. Right. I mean, I know it's partially stopping us. I mean, we've got other stuff going on and we've tightened our belts like crazy, but there's so many reasons out there why people are not doing that. So I don't know how many people this will exactly help or make a difference for, because, saving $45 on a doll, taking it down from, what did we say, 500-ish, down to like 460,
And we have to remember too that this is not just going to benefit U.S. people, although it's definitely a response to what's happening in the U.S.
Sure.
But it's going to benefit other people too, because you're going to be saving on costs, shipping costs, and whatnot.
Landon Mike says, this cost of dolls costing under $500 sounds like a wonderful dream to this Canadian. Yeah, I mean, you know, it is all of this. Yes, you can take into account, you know, other places already have import costs. Exchange rates, you know, vary depending on where you're from, and so that has been different. The exchange rate has changed drastically over the last few years since like the pandemic, basically. You know, these dolls used to cost like $550.
Mm-hmm. And more than that, I mean, well, the Canadian dollar, I don't know what the state is now, but in the past, the Canadian dollar isn't worth as much as the US dollar. So their dollar cost is higher.
Yeah. I think the impact on buying habits is like, yes, it's about the tariffs, but it's also about like the economy in general and the uncertainty in the United States that is making a lot of people just stop altogether. But also, yeah, there's also probably a lot of newer collectors, yeah, who don't like have never lived in a world where a smart doll cost $550.
Yeah, our first ones were like 500-ish when we got them.
Yeah.
So like, we're not saying that we're not used to paying that. In fact, I think it was Kitty Blue in our comments on one of our videos said, you know, all it's going to do for her is slow her down.
Yeah.
Because she remembers paying this amount of money for a doll, but she's just not going to do it as much.
Evie Breeder says, I'd rather save up and buy a full doll. You know, like, I think there's a lot of people that will, I don't see this. I see Danny maybe thinking and considering making this like the default. I don't think it's going to work.
I mean, he doesn't know either. That's why he's doing this test. He's got to figure out what's going on.
Yep.
You know, we were talking about the pair dolls. He discussed the fact that not only does it not fit in that smaller box, but the thing with the pair girls is if you take the shins off, the thigh shell comes loose.
Right. Yeah. Just packing, like it's not a contained thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's very difficult to take apart a pair doll and have it stay together in its pieces.
Yeah. And you know, and then there's like also he said like there's people that have difficulty with this in terms of putting the legs in, pulling the arms on,
yep,
putting the arms on, stuff like that. There's like because of physical differences. There's you know, there's people buying for their kids and for seniors, evidently. He's got a senior population now that is getting them as gifts. So they need to be able to put these dolls together and take them apart.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the, you know, we had poked Danny with a couple of questions and clarifications, which I think mostly we've covered, but I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that he might have said that's, you know, ultimately, this is an experiment. He's trying. I did want to address so every time we talk about tariffs, it's always going to come up that like, you know, other countries pay X or Y and we're used to whatever.
And we get that. And we've always been sympathetic to that.
At the same time, because I'm going to, you know, I think I said this in Discord. There is an element of, you know, sort of tone deafness, at least that's how it feels, when, you know, everyone, you know, all the Europe collectors are like, welcome to the club, we've had to do this for blah, 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 you know. And I think the reason there is something that goes sort of missed, like everyone just looks at, here's the cost of the doll. This is what it's costing me for the doll. And, you know, we've got that, we've got tariffs. One of the things that, you know, I don't have enough knowledge to like do a full explainer here, but there is some good articles if you look up like what's the difference between VAT and a tariff. And the economy in Europe is built around value-added tax, which is a consumption tax. It is a tax that is done at every step of the process. It is built into everything. And it is balanced with things like income tax. It is like they're like fairly reliant on the, a consumption tax for funding, the government. Mm-hmm. In America, we are almost solely weighted towards income tax. And that's not even getting into how poorly our government spends our money.
We're not talking about that.
But the actual, like, how our government runs is running based on, is funded through income tax. So, it is all of a sudden putting tariffs on everything with no target, just everything is getting tariffs, is putting a massive strain on everybody, increasing costs of everything, increasing costs of supplies, and so there's a lot of context to understanding both what a tariff is and what its impact is. So yeah, everyone's annoyed, and it sucks to pay more money, and
understood on that.
But there is also, it's not exactly the same thing. And, so anyway, like, I don't want to call people out for, like, I said tone deaf, like it's not a huge deal, but just know the next time, you want to kind of,
commiserate
that it's not just that. There's a lot more wrapped up in it. Anyway, so I don't know that there's much else to say here. We're going to see what happens.
Yeah, because there's nothing to say until it actually happens. It's a test that Danny's going to do. He doesn't even know how it's going to go. It's going to involve trying to figure. I mean, I was like making the suggestion that maybe that he could do, like, if bare bones became the default, that he could have a drop down that said, I want my doll full assembled. And, maybe it says allow like an extra week to 10 days for processing time or something like that. I mean, there's things that he could do, but he's not going to know what he needs to do until he tries some stuff.
Katie says, us USA were so lucky for so long. Again, I don't think we were lucky. We were paying differently. That's all. We were paying on, more on all the money that we make instead of the money that we spend. Right. And all of those most of that is done at a state level, things like that. So it is, yeah, I don't think it's fair to say that we were lucky. If you only look at these types of issues through the lens of this one purchase and how much this one thing costs, then yes,
yeah,
we were lucky.
we already have taxes for our benefits like Social Security and Medicare. We pay income tax just in general to the government on how much we make. We pay state taxes. We pay sales taxes in each state depending on where you are. It's a different amount. There's consumption taxes, and now we have this as well.
Yeah. So again, the only reason I get into that is it's just not as simple as all of that, I read some really good, interesting articles. There's a number of them out there that just, for anyone, especially in the U.S., to understand what it is, because quite honestly, I mean, maybe we should have a VAT instead of so much, income tax. That's a whole other discussion. But something to explore and research on your own. Piano Nomad said, I'm too stupid to be able to assemble anything, let alone a SmartDoll. So no, the bare bones bundle is not for me. I'm heartbroken about the tariffs and the curtain situation.
Honestly, I don't think you'd be too stupid to assemble one of these dolls the way he's done it. Like I said, I've done it's no worse than putting the arms on, in my opinion. Like the only other piece is putting the legs, the shins into the thigh, and that's essentially the same as putting in the arms. If you can take your arms on and off, she's not evolved.
I was gonna get all dramatic and it wouldn't help. Who's Evolve?
I believe not everything to everyone is on Evolve.
Yeah.
Click her leg and make sure.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, God, getting them off is actually a little bit harder, I think. Yeah, all right.
Taking them out is hard. There it goes. Poor Haruka lost her hair.
All right. So that's going to be the hardest part is the shins. You're just going to get something like this. You can see here. Maybe not. I'm going to do it. So inside the shin, you can see the socket for the shin that it has to go into. And then you just need to line those up. Go back here, because I can't put this in there, holding it up in the midair.
You push it till it clicks in.
Getting it in is so much easier than taking it off. Same thing with the shoulder. Like, so it really isn't that bad. Sorry, girl.
He just likes to. I dress these girls so nice, and he's just destroys them.
Yeah. So, now that we've thoroughly violated this doll, it's not as bad as you would expect, but yeah, I mean, if you have grip strength issues and stuff like that, it might be a little bit more difficult. We've got some updates on SmartDoll Guru coming up, but before we get to that, if you find this video helpful, informative, maybe for some reason you find us amusing, which I don't know, have less respect for you. Give this video a like, help this spread to more people. We really appreciate it. We're going to come back and talk a little bit about Guru, give you an update on the beta and how it's going. But first, let's hope this works. We've been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. I did it, and I updated it, and it doesn't work. So, sorry, guys.
Next week.
Oh, I know. Wait, I didn't quit. Did I not? I got one thing that I can try. Hold on. We're going back over. We've been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. Picking up all our friends, fill up the car till it bends because we wanna. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. Nope. All right. It's dumb. I have to manually update it with a list of the files right now, and for some reason it's not loading it. I apologize. We'll let some more gather up for next time. All right. Did you have?
Nope.
Okay. Let's get back into Guru. So it wasn't last week, was it? When did we talk about? No, it was 2 weeks ago that we did the
It was last week.
It was last week?
Mhm.
It's only been 1 week since we announced the beta?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's crazy. It feels like it's been a lot longer. Okay, so last week we announced the beta of the new SmartDoll Guru. You can find it at smartdoll.guru. You can also find it at the old website, smartdollguru.com. It's been a little rocky in terms of like I broke half of the features right before we opened it up to public beta. But it is up. It is moving along. We've had, as of like an hour ago, 43
Active users?
Yep.
Awesome.
You guys have made 600, you've wish list 680 items. Now that's all types. You've collected 1,236 items.
Wait, that's 43 people using it and 1,236 items?
Yep. In their collections. 680 in their wish lists. 1,236 in their collections. Now that's items.
So it could be clothes and shoes and...
It could be whatever the heck they want. Yep. Let's see. Wolf said, I loved using Guru. Building collection and wish list is awesome. Puriel says, I had so much fun making my collection. I need to make my wish list next. I dug a little bit deeper in and wanted to, because mostly we care about dolls, right? Like the clothes and stuff. Like we want to see your doll collection. So, you guys have collected 477 dolls across you.
So that's more than 10 dolls. If you average it out, it's not the same way,
like
but
12 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have the average number somewhere. I have a whole report that, calculates it all out for me now. And our biggest doll collection, this is dolls, not all items. I don't know. I didn't run the numbers on like the biggest overall
so the
collection.
person who has the most dolls has
91 dolls. And that's just the collection. So I feel like we need to put achievements in and like have like a running achievement that you have the most. Or maybe it's probably more likely be like brackets. But that is, you guys got a lot of dolls. And I can't wait to see what...
I don't feel so bad about our collection now.
Yeah. We're in the 40s.
Yeah.
I think. I hope we're still in the 40s.
Yeah, we're in the 40s still.
Dee Dee says, "Oh no, I have that beat. Guess I have to start using Guru."
You have more than 91 smart dolls?
Kelly says, "I've not used Guru yet, but I want to. It's waiting there for you. All you got to do." Well, I'm sorry. I don't know if it was you, Kelly, or not, but I know somebody
doesn't have Discord.
Doesn't have Discord. So it's coming. I'm not sure when exactly I'll be able to add in the other logins. But I'll probably try and do that when we get whatchamacallit, like when we go for like the main big launch and we've got like public profiles.
Mike says he has more than 91 dolls now too. So
yeah, so it's I'm really excited about like the excitement in the community about the tool and where we can go with it. Kadal says, "What kind of people has space for 91 dolls?"
They're taking over every room in our house, and we only have in the 40s.
Yeah, but I will say this: the rest of the space is being taken by Lego, so
If we got rid of the Lego, we could fit 9. Maybe that's our next plan. We have to have the most dolls in Guru.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, I mean, also long time, at least it's people with the money to spend on that many smart dolls. It also got like over time,
yeah. Like, how long have you been collecting?
But yeah, T says, my motto is there's always room for one more. Can't wait to expand the features of this. And we're going to talk about that. So what's happened in the last week? I mean, I swear it's been longer than a week since we launched beta, but I had problems with collections and wish lists. Those are now working. So you can start putting things in your collection and your wish list all you want. Thanks to some feedback I've added. I mean, there's lots of bug fixing that I've been doing, but I've improved the searching. Mm-hmm. It was pretty basic. Like, you literally, like, it needed to be an exact match somewhere within the title. So searching Mirai worked. Searching Mirai T didn't, because they're in parentheses in the name. So I updated the searching. It's a lot fuzzier and a little bit easier to work with, but also remember, you've got filters to filter by skin tone and sculpt and body type, all that sort of stuff. We've also added, I mean, the feature is not really something you guys would use, but you are impacted by this. So I did implement manual addition of products. Mm-hmm. So SmartDoll Guru, the new version of Guru, is built on, my old automated inventory tracker and like alert that I was using for ourselves, and evolved into tracking all of the inventory. So at the core of it, it's automatically pulling in stuff. But there are some weird situations that we get into because Danny, does things like change a doll. Like, for instance, somebody popped into the Guru Beta channel in the Discord and said, hey, where is the prowess that I have? The prowess I have, Prowess Coco, has white whiskers, and she has heterochromia. She had 2 different color eyes. And I had to double check and go look at and see what happened. And what happened was Danny, at some point, came out with the golden whiskers and changed her to one eye color and gold whiskers for Prowess Coco, which Prowess originally was just Coco. Mm-hmm. Like, Prowess was originally Coco only. So he recycled. He didn't make a new product page for the change. Prowess became that. So hopefully if he does that with new stuff, the system will help me track that better. But we still have some work to go back and utilize to basically to create and backfill products. So the feature is there. We've already started adding in. I know Warsheep has started helping out with adding in some products. For instance, we added in Cyber.
Black Navy Cyber Vision.
Yeah. And she hadn't ever been released on SmartDoll at all. So she was not going to come into our, through our system. So we had to manually add that because she was available at Anime Sugoi and Fabric Friends.
Another example was Future in Blue. I couldn't add her to my collection, and John remembered that she was a release that he didn't want to make a page for, so he released her as a Pebble, but told everybody what they would be getting.
Yeah.
And she just showed up on Twitter, so he had to go and grab the picture from Twitter and make an entry for Future in Blue.
I don't think I did. I don't think I may not have ended up making her. I forget. But like, so there's still some curation that has to happen. We also have the whole old database, from Notion that I'm relying on as well. No name, no last name. I don't use Discord. Can I still register to Guru? Right now, no. You can still use Guru. You just can't do, we don't have a way to save your collection or your wish list.
Right. The thing about Discord, though, is make an account. You don't have to use it for anything else.
Yep.
You don't even have to come in and visit us, although we would like to have you come visit the server.
Yep.
But you don't even have to. You can just make an account from our website and then use it to log in to Guru.
So that's certainly an option, or you can wait until we've implemented, login with maybe Google. I don't know if I will end up doing like Facebook, but I have a feeling that it would be smart for me to do Facebook, just knowing the community. I would encourage you, just grab a Discord account, and set it up, but that's up to you. I don't have a specific date in mind for implementing the login. It is really easy and right now for me to implement and deal with gating features to Discord members or Discord members with certain roles. So it's slightly lower on the priority list, but obviously we want everyone to use this regardless of their login and things. So coming soon, more bug fixes. It's slowing down though. Less people are finding bugs. Things are pretty stable right now. We got a request for the sculpts, and I recognize this. This is something that I haven't fleshed out. So this is higher on the priority list, which is in the old website, we had like details on the sculpts and we had multiple pictures of blanks of the sculpts. So I have to make a details page for the sculpts. Right now, all it is a card for each and a link to like show all of the sculpts, all of the dolls that are related to that. So that'll be coming back. I am already well into developing the public profiles, and that's going to be probably the big...
So that's so you can share your collection with other people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to, you're going to have to set up like a username, and you'll get an actual like address that people can see your profile with, your collection or your wish list, whichever you choose, or both,
right.
to share.
Yeah, and you can choose none if you want to keep it quiet.
And the other big thing that's high on the list is custom collection items. So I think this is largely going to be for things like custom face-ups. But technically, there's no reason why I shouldn't allow you to put in, take pictures and catalog like your collection of Maruka Halu clothes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that is, again, initial focus is probably going to be like custom face-ups.
I haven't tried it myself yet. Is in your collection, is being able to name your doll and put in their story and stuff working?
Yes. So when you put in any normal product, you can put in purchase information, when and where you bought it from and how much it was. And when you add a doll to your collection, you can add in character information. So you give them your own name, a bio. And I've added in like silly stuff, like, age and where they were, where they're from and, what their occupation is, so you can put in some basic, character information. And then when you look at it, you actually will see, you can flip between viewing like your character bio versus your like purchase information. And other people will be able to see not the purchase information, but the character information. So those are the big focus. And one more thing, I've been thinking a lot about this. We talked about like ways to make it easy and fun for you to support the development of Guru, which right now, we had a few people sign up as Discord subscribers to do that. That is a great and easy way to provide ongoing support for the development of the website. But I've been talking about, like, how can we make it, easy? Like, maybe we do like buy me a coffee, like a little donation thing. But I am playing with the idea of both a non-donation based, but also like a like sort of cosmetic feature for donations. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be making a sticker feature.
And I know everybody's going, "Ooh, stickers," because that's pretty fun and cool.
Yeah. So the idea would be that you would be able to actually put a sticker on, like, your card for a particular character. I really want to know, like, data-wise, I want to know who your favorites are, like, out of your collection. So the way I anticipate probably starting this is making a best girl and best boy sticker.
Right, and then you can go into the data and see who's the winner overall for best girl.
Yeah,
or best
like
boy.
who is best girl? And for the other stickers, then I would be looking at making some sort of, like, sticker pack system, or where you can buy, I don't know, a number of stickers for a donation. Again, purely, like, some free stickers will be there because I think they'll help us provide really interesting insights, and I want to make, like, a best girl and a best boy feature anyway. But then, we could have more sticker packs.
In case there was a sticker that, like, totally applied to your character for your doll, like,
Yeah, once we get into stickers, there's a lot of things that we can do. I definitely will be utilizing like the SmartDoll chibi stickers, so you'll be able to put those on them. But we've got a whole community out there. If anyone in the community is interested in, donating some artistic, expertise and wants to actually make some stickers, I would love to, I would love to not be, the person generating all the stickers, but, actually have it be more community driven. Again, all of this is to say of just finding a fun way to, personalize your profile and your, your collections, and a way to, easily help, help with, supporting the development of the site.
And thank you to those who have supported so far.
Specifically, thank you to our feedback providers who have been active in the Guru beta, giving me feedback. Lee, Kirby Collects, Cornflower Blue, Lady Miss Jenny, and the Lord Mr. James, who both joined, I think, specifically after the Guru beta.
Lady Miss Jenny had been around for a bit.
Right. But very vocal and very helpful. Grape Kitty. You want to take these?
So we had more providers of feedback. We had I Want a Smarty, Michaela, Mickey Frost, Bambi Geek, Crimson Scotty, and War Sheep.
And again, I mentioned this before, but War Sheep not only providing feedback, but helping out with actual, like, data entry and cropping images and stuff like that. So thank you so much for your volunteering efforts. And we'll take a A couple, we have at least one question here. Kelly Popper says, would there be a log of the stickers and what they mean? I think for the most part, stickers will just be stickers.
Best girl, best boy would be gathering like information that would be fun to share with people.
I think the three that I imagine are that would be like have real like data meaning. They would be limited, first of all. You know, like you would get you'd probably all get one of each, right? I mean, I don't know whether you would have multiples of other stickers anyway, but everyone would get access to the stickers that mean something because I want you to use them. And so that would be best boy, best girl, and then I think Grail for the wish list. So the wish list gets like this is the thing I really want.
Or even Grail could actually still go in collection. This is my Grail. I got her.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Or him.
I guess I would have assumed that they would end up being best girl or boy, but yeah, no, that makes sense.
Not necessarily.
Yep. So, yeah, so we'll see. Again, this is stuff I'm playing with. I've got the feature pretty well, like, mapped out in terms of how it's going to work. So yeah, I look forward to getting that going. And again, like this is like a fair amount of money that has to get pushed into this just for the development and let alone to keep developing it. So really appreciate anybody who is helping out. And to that note, let's talk about our supporters.
We'd like to thank our super smarty for last week, Lee.
And our Discord subscribers, which has grown a bit this past week with people wanting to help out with Guru. So thank you so much for that.
We have our cheerleaders, Anne-Marie Appleboy, Bambi Geek, Celestial Styles Alaska, Dee Dee Simone 22, Doll Dragon, Juna Thorne, Liz Marie, Neptune Stars, and Soup to Boop.
And our sponsor level, Agarva, Bizbot Redheads Ramblings, Busy Bee, and Camife SMD.
And our mascots, Threads of Elysium and Warsheep.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all who have been with us this entire time, supporting the channel. And thank you all to the new supporters who are seeing the value in Guru and want to help out. We really appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's it, guys.
That's what we got for you. That's all for us. Bye.
Bye.